أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله والسلام على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا كثيرا. Seek refuge in Allah from the evil Shaitan, the accursed one. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. And we send praises and we send praises much upon the selected one, Mustafa, and upon his progeny, upon his family members, upon those whom aided and assisted him, and much peaceful memories of them, abundantly, abundantly. And to proceed, they're citizens of humanity, citizens of the Shahada, the twin declaration of faith, citizens of United States, and prior to being citizens of United States, we're all one as children of Adam. Peace and blessings be upon him, in all of those prophets, all of those messengers of the truth and the seekers of truth from him until the very last child of his. Those who want for others what they want for themselves. We greet every last one of you, no matter who you are, no matter where you are, with the blessing and glad tidings of peace, which is Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. There are several updates, reports, statements pertaining to Iblisi positions, their latest losses, as well as advancements and their attempts. We have received word from mystical forces in the area that indeed Jalla Jalaluhu has sufficed the oppressed over their oppressors, and that showed in the last number of hours have we managed to display that in which we dealt with pertaining to the Iblisis under jealousy, under greed, deception, ignorance, because we realize that when the narrative of Iblis refusing to bow down to Adam, peace and blessings be upon him, it was under all of the Iblisi commanders. He was being ignorant, he was being jealous, he was being greedy, he was being disobedient, he was being rejectful. Until today, such exist, which are very clear. We therefore say to those who are persisting and retaining Iblisi ways, which are certainly against that in which Jalla Jalaluhu has commanded to those who have given the twin declaration of faith its right. The first and foremost, the models at ICVA and the likes of ICVA are most definitely atrocious, as well as disadvantageous to the prospects and the sovereignty of the Quranic institution and therefore have been called out and will continuously to be assaulted as such, outlined to ICVA and the presidential cabinet and all those. You have no credibility or certification to do any of which you have claimed and asserted to yourself pertaining to Quranic professionals. Quranic professionals are not your slaves. Quranic professionals are not actors and performers of yours. A true Quranic professional is one whom Jalla Jalaluhu himself has selected to pertain his word, as is the culture of all revelations prior to it. Prophets were given that ability to retain it. Today we only have the Quran, and we say to you, Mr. President, ICVA, this indeed is the nature of our inheritance of prophecy, which you ask so many times. You must understand, due to your lack of accountability, you and the ICVA model for those who stand in such models are Iblisi. Authentic Quranic culture will free and give victory to the deprived over you and the likes of you. Those of you seekers of the truth, ask Mr. President of ICVA what Quranic level is his recitation, what Quranic level is his reading, retention of the Quran itself, as one claims to be involved in a Hifz program, a pilot Hifz program even. Being one whom we know for a fact knows no more than, in his own words, 15 surahs. Not the Quran, because there's no tajweed. Not meaning either, because of the strong drive in how today we manage to get into, or we should say that people generally get into political positions by paying their way through it. Millions, as we know, we do not want millions of worldly assets. We want millions of hereafter assets. We want to make very clear and very simple. For every who think that they have the Quran, let them apply at least one phrase of it in every form possible. That will be better than having the Quran on your shelf and never excelling in it. The presidents all over so-called Islamic communities must come to understand that the status quo has changed, whether it's in the capital of the Iblisis, meaning United Snakes of America, or not. What right does the president have to direct the higher level of Quranic education? What levels do they have of understanding of such pertaining to the Babul Ilmu, Bab, Madinatul Ilmu, the door of the city of knowledge? And if you do not know the door of the city, then how can you know the city? As the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, I am the city of knowledge. And Ali is the door to such city. The ideology itself must be made very clear that this is a Quranic ideology and takes precedent. Therefore, one who does not even have Quran cannot possibly give any type of Quranic service on site, particularly as it comes to being a ma'moon, a follower of one who he has followed for over 28 years in Salah. The junta itself finds that to be completely unacceptable, and any who decide to do so and follow him in such will have the 10 declaration of faith, the pledge of allegiance of Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam dissolved. Worse, the president helped fabricate and committed acts of character assassination of the one whom he had actually followed in Salah over 28 years. He was his close ally, friend and protector. There's also a mentorship relationship that had gone on there for many years. It was a reminiscent, unfortunately, of the young Thomas Sankara when he was assassinated and couped back in the 80s in Burkina Faso by his close comrade Blaise Compaoré. Fellow citizens of the Republic of the Shahadatu an la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, we point out that through arrogance, the president claimed fabrications. Jealousy was definitely an aim. One may ask, why would a millionaire already serving in an ICVA setting try to set anybody up? And he is the first black president of the center. Why would he do that to a commoner? Why would he do that to somebody he really knows to hold the possession of the command of the Quran, though such individual does not have assets in the millions? In fact, he barely has assets in the dozens. But this scenario, unfortunately, pointed out that being an official member since 1995, we find that to be a fabrication of the president. The next thing is, for what reason, where is and why presidents deceive people about such circumstances in question, and of course, protecting sex scandalous and those who feel that all must be concealed, being that it is bad, knowing fully well that it will be exposed one day. Number 3, or C, thinking and behaving in a playful manner, which the president describes on the footage presented. We have to make very clear to not just presidential dignitaries, all the way to common folk, that Quranic education isn't a joke. It's unacceptable. Those who follow this model are subjected to its ignorance and aren't guided, but are indeed misguided due to its fabrications, deceptions. Citizens of the Shahadatu an la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu, the truth will never aid falsehood. Secondly, we have indeed collected on all IC to hold such reps to accountability and not allow the colonial imperial models to forsaken and deceive you. Realize it or not, as the president of ICVA set up his friend of 28 years out of jealousy, they, the Iblisi allies, are jealous of you. Iblisis, out of greed, wanted that in which was not their right. They refuse, indeed, to hold themselves accountability for getting over on others. tried in the motherland and amongst each other, then came for you and me. Study your history, my fellow respected siblings, and the shahadatu an la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. Where did our great nation get its name, and what cost has been the living on stolen ground, built and pursued by stolen people, as they lost more human life than any other human atrocity in history? My beloved siblings of humanity, we are referring to the mid-Atlantic slave trade, those of our ancestors who made it over, lost millions on their way over from Africa to the United States of America. Unfortunately, the history is so devastating, such biggest atrocity prior to the 400 years of slavery in the United States of America. Then based on an entire constitution, the basis of racism, our tax dollars, our tax money has been added to the cause of apartheid, which is a crime against humanity. All over the world, dear citizens of the world, stand for everlasting peace and accountability for the truth in its entirety. My fellow siblings of humanity, it's the first victim in any war, the truth. Had the truth been applied, none would have shot the wrong way. Our forces in all areas, which are mystical, spiritual, indeed personnel, as well as theoretical and philosophical, all of our intellectual capacities by the means of Jalla Jalaluhu have been dispatched to the region, and we must make it clear to all Iblisi allies that we are firmly standing with our siblings in peace, despite being under occupation and tyranny of the Iblisis. I yield my time and will indeed continue with the aspect of the local community as the Muslims of America, TMOA, represented by Zainab Adams Umunur Sheikha, as my own daughters call her, which again is going to be a very, very impactful statement, report on Iblisis. So we will continue from there. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.